just joined us, you can let me know. Did you apply for the scholarship? Did you not apply? If you applied, how was your interview? Have you seen the list? If you have seen the list, does the list represent the reality of what you expected? Or does it go different from what your expectations were? All right, so let's make a start. Congratulations to all the people who have won the PTDF Scholarship for 2023/2024. The award list is now out, and like the culture is, PTDF has gone ahead to publish the scholarship award list on their website. The reason I'm doing this live session now is to answer some of the questions that people have been dropping on my DM concerning the next phase of activities between the time you've won the scholarship and when you eventually move to your country of study. In addition to that, I'm also going to touch on a few things that you can do when you get to that country in order to settle in very quickly. So let's get started. Now, if you have not seen the list of the awardees, what you just need to do is go to PTDF. That's their website, scholarships.ptdf.gov.ng. So when you log into that website, you're going to see this kind of platform that is displaying here on the left side of my page now. And you just scroll down to, there is application guideline, then just scroll down to news and events. When you click on news and events, you're going to see this first post. The topmost post on the website is going to be about the list of awardees. And that list, you click on it, then you will have the list of all the people who have been awarded the scholarship on merit this year. Right. So if you would want to go for it, you can search by your gender, you can search by your state, you can search by the university of choice. If you, excuse me, if you search by states, then it goes in alphabetical order from Abia State. And then all the people that have won the scholarship from Abia States, you can see here Carlo Precious Chidimma going to Heriot Watt University. Congratulations to you. You can see Onyike Deborah Chizoba going to Heriot Watt University, female as well. Congratulations to you. Then you can see Julius Victor from Abia State going to France. Congratulations, Julius. You can see Kalu Okoro Innocent. Congratulations, Germany. You can see Obimba Wogo Jesubon. I really can't pronounce the name correctly, but France, congratulations to you. You can see Nwachukwenyi Nayachukudike, congratulations, Liverpool. So you can scroll down and you will see the list of people from your own states, and if your name is there, then congratulations. If your name is not there, don't be discouraged. What you need to do is follow up, find these people who have won this scholarship, go, I would say, stalk them on LinkedIn, if stalking is the right word to use. But again, the point is, check out their profile, see what they have that you didn't have. That might be what made the difference between them getting the scholarship ahead of yourself. That way you're able to start preparing yourself for the next phase of the scholarship. I actually did that when I applied for the first time and did not make the award list. Now, if you go down to the PhD list, so the list I had shown you earlier was the MSc scholarship list, and usually PTDF will do like 2 persons per state to the UK, and then I think 3 persons or 2 persons to each of the other states. I can't, or let me not quote that wrongly, but if you check through it, you see the number of persons that have been awarded the scholarship from your own states and from what country they are going to. Then if you move down, you will see the PhD awardee list, and if you go down it, you will see all the names. The same thing, you can search by your state, you can search by your gender, or you can search by anything. There is another lady from Abia State, Innocent Oluchi Uchechi. There are quite a lot of ladies from Abia State this year. Congratulations to the ladies from Abia. Now let's move ahead to the questions. Now, if your name is not on this list, what it basically means is that these ones whose names are here performed better than you from your own state during the interview process, or maybe not during the interview process, but they had better qualifications than yourself. You remember that your WAEC result will play a role in the nomination. You remember that the class of your bachelor's degree also plays a role in the nomination. And then, of course, you remember that your membership of professional bodies played a role in the nomination process, as you would have experienced on the day of your interview. Now, not to be discouraged if you didn't make it this year, try it again next year. Down to the questions. People have been sending me messages regarding the award lists and regarding the next phase of activities that will follow after this point. And most of those questions have been revolving around applying for admissions. One, the other category of questions I've had recently are from those who are going to France and to Germany. People have been asking, do we need to study the German language ahead of time? Do we need to study do we need to study French ahead of time? The other class of questions has been on the bond condition of whether you are supposed to return to Nigeria after your studies, or whether you can just remain in the country or move on to another country after your studies. There are also questions about the validity of the scholarship, the length of time that the scholarship is supposed to last. How long is it valid? How long can you stay back in Nigeria before you take up the studies abroad? When are you supposed to travel? And there is also a question that I'm going to touch on, which is going to border on the payments process and how much PTDF actually pays. So stay with me, and then let's get on in the questions and the answers. If you have any other question that is not in this list I've mentioned, please drop a message in the comment section. I'll be returning to the comments to answer those questions. Now, number one, you have won the scholarship and PTDF does not help you secure admission by yourself. So now that you've won the scholarship, it is required of you to go ahead and secure your admission from your choice university. If you have applied to a university before and this university has given you a conditional offer of admission, then this is the time for you to pick up the award letter, send it to PTDF so that pick up your admission letter, send it to PTDF so that they can give you a confirmation of your award letter, and then you can send to the university to clear off the condition of your offer. It's also important to note that PTDF itself is going to organize an official induction program, which is going to take you through all the concerns that you might have, which is also going to give you the most up-to-date information regarding the scholarship process and regarding the activities that are going to follow. What I'm telling you now are based on my personal experience and based on the experiences of other scholars in the past award sessions. I am not a representative of PTDF, but then, like I mentioned earlier, I am a scholar of the PTDF and studying in the UK. Right. So PTDF will not help you secure admission. You will have to secure admission by yourself. The other kind of question that is sort of attached to it is, must I go to my first choice university? For instance, you'll find in this place that people's names on this award list, you'll find, for instance, that Ndukwe Kalo's name is written, okay, he is going to France, and there is no university stated there. Probably has not submitted any admission letter at the point of application. But for these other ones who, for instance, have their names written, for Christopher Chukwuemeka, for instance, who has his name written alongside, who has Harriet Watt written alongside his name, has probably submitted an admission letter from Harriet Watt at the point of application, and then PTDF has assumed that Harriet Watt is the university is going to go to. In my time, you could change this choice of university. You could secure admission in any other university after you have won the scholarship, so long as that university is within the partner university, the list of partners that PTDF works with, and so long as that university is within the country you have chosen. actually the scholarship operates more like in a block of countries. So United Kingdom is one block, then Germany, France, and Malaysia is another block, which means that in exceptional conditions, somebody can who has chosen France could request to change his destination to Germany, or could request to change his destination to Malaysia. But somebody who has applied to either France, Germany, or Malaysia cannot request to be transferred to the UK. And somebody who has applied to the UK can request for a change of, can actually choose any other school that's within the partner list in the UK. So somebody who has selected Cranfield can move to Robert Gordon University, which is where I study myself. Somebody who has applied to Robert Gordon can move to Heriot-Watt. Somebody who has applied to Heriot-Watt can move to University College London, and all of that kind of changes and movements around. Right, so you must not stick to your first choice university if you have discovered that your second choice university is a better choice, or your second choice university has a better quality of training than your first choice university, which is reflected on this list. This information again is based on past experiences. PTDF might have changed, but I really do not think that there has been any change to that policy. You should be able to move universities within the block of country that you have chosen. Once again, if you are just joining us, please you can drop a comment of where you are watching from, and please do us a favor, share this video so that other people can see it, especially to any PTDF scholarship group that you belong to. Then moving forward, in terms of language of study, you will notice that all the partner universities that PTDF has, whether it's in Malaysia, in UK, in France, in Germany, all these universities have courses that are taught in English language, right? So you don't necessarily need to go back to France and start learning French, or go to Germany and start learning German language in order to be able to study. Of course, your school might offer you a course in French language, your school might offer you a course in German language, but this is not going to be the language of instruction for your course, right? This will be more like to enable you pick up the language to a point where you'll be able to communicate freely with people outside the university environment, where, for instance, and again, it's also good that you pick up the language alongside your studies, so that when you are done, it makes the process of getting a job a lot easier when you know the language of the country that you live in. Yeah, so people don't confuse PTDF scholarship with federal scholarship, with BA scholarship, where the language of instruction for all students for most students, is the local language of the country they are sent to. If you have won the PTDF scholarship, you just need to go to an English school in that country and then pick up your course, finish it within the space of time that your your admission letter has stated. Now, I have talked about applying for admission by yourself. I have talked about the language, and then I have also talked about whether or not you can change institution, or whether or not you can change the country of your choice. Moving forward, let me also respond to the question regarding regarding returning to Nigeria after your studies. Now, as a PTDF scholar, you have to sign a bond with PTDF that says after your studies, the way I remember that the bond was structured is, after your studies, if you are not able to secure a professional job in the country you've studied in, then you need to return to Nigeria. I think I'm not a lawyer, of course, and I'm not being given a legal interpretation of what that phrase means, but my understanding of it is PTDF is trying to say that they don't want to spend all this money on any student, and then at the end of your study, you end up doing menial jobs in your country. Then I know a number of students of PTDF who have graduated and settled back in the countries where they studied and are working there, and PTDF has not come to drag any of them back to Nigeria. And I don't think PTDF is going to come after you to drag you back to Nigeria after your studies, so long as you are able to get something reasonable and professional doing. However, if you choose to go back to Nigeria at the end of your course, that's also perfect and fine. It is a personal choice and based on something, probably the details of the kind of job you are doing or the opportunities you've got back home in Nigeria and all of that. But again, PTDF, to the best of my knowledge, is not going to drag you back to Nigeria if you have a professional job that you are doing in the country you have studied. Then, the length of time, you will recognize that most schools abroad would have closed their applications this period. I don't know what arrangement PTDF has this year, but again, these are going to be, if there are any arrangements, they are going to discuss them during your induction. But prior to that time, what I just want you to understand is that your scholarship is going to be valid for 1 full year. So you have won the scholarship in September. You have up until September next year to move to your country. This has been the practice in the past years. So if you are not able to start your study this month or this period, you can start your study in January. You can start your study in September next year. And when you move from Nigeria is mostly dependent on you. If you choose to move like in September, or if you choose to move in January next year, based on based on your admission letter and when your school has opening, that's a perfect choice. You can just move and go start your course. But then, if you choose to move, like say in September next year, that's fine. Some other schools will also have like all year round admission into PhD programs. If you find yourself in one of those schools, that's also perfect. Then you just know that you have to choose when you are moving, depending on when your studies is supposed to start based on your admission letter. Then these things might change. Like I mentioned, the most up to date information you will get on the day of your induction. But these are just to like prepare your mind ahead of what is to come so that you know what to plan about and worry less heading into that official induction. And usually the induction will be announced via email. PTDF will contact you and drop you an email inviting you for the induction. It could be physical, it could be virtual, but I think there is a greater likelihood that they will do a virtual induction because that might be more cost efficient for the PTDF. Then the length of funding. People are asking if I am going for a master's degree program that's lasting for 2 years, will PTDF fund it? Usually, most master's programs in the UK are going to last for 12 months if you started in September. For those who are starting in January, the period is going to be relatively longer because of your summer break. The advantage is during the summer break, which is about 3 months in between, you are going to be able to work for you are going to be able to work full time during that period as a student. And but again, it makes your stay in school a bit longer. But if your the best way to explain it is this: your the length of time that PTDF is going to fund your studies is dependent on the length of study time that is stated in your on your admission letter. So if you are going for a master's program and the university says clearly, the partner university says clearly in your admission letter that this master's program is going to take you 2 years to finish, the PTDF will usually sponsor you for a 2 year period. If your master's program is stated to last for 12 months, PTDF is going to sponsor you for 12 months. If your program is stated to last for your PhD is stated to last for 3 years, PTDF will sponsor you for 3 years. Again, there used to be rooms for requesting an extension of time and all that, but again, those are going to now be based on the judgment of whoever is reviewing your application, your request for extension. If your PhD is stated to last for 4 years, PTDF is going to give you that award for that period of 4 years. And in my own case, for instance, in my school, you have some people whose PhDs are stated to last for 3 years. You have some others whose PhDs are stated to last for 4 years. And it is that letter, that admission letter, that PTDF bases its judgment of how long they are going to sponsor you for on. Right, so that's it on the length of time. Now, the very important one of payments is always good to talk about this. If you are coming to the UK as a PTDF scholar at a master's degree level, you usually get £1,100 paid to you per month. Now, this £1,100 is for your upkeep. This is not, you are not paying your school fees from that amount of money. Your school fees is paid, is a business between the PTDF and your school. You don't even know when it is paid. The only thing you will know is if your fee is not paid in the within the right time, your school can then start contacting you, even though PTDF has severally warned that schools should not contact scholars for anything money related. But once in a while you get some schools that will send you an email that your funding organization has not paid your fees and you should get in touch with them to pay up. Yeah, but apart from paying your tuition, PTDF will pay you £1,100 as a master's degree student if you are not studying in London. If you are within London, the pay is usually relatively higher for those within London. That is for UK. I also understand that those who are studying in France and living in Paris, they get relatively a higher amount of money paid to them than those who are studying in other places outside France. This is more or less to cover for the additional cost of living in those big cities. If you are doing a PhD in the UK under PTDF will pay you £1,550 per month, and this is for those who are studying outside of London. If you are studying in London, the money is relatively higher than that. Then the question becomes, how is this money paid and when is this money paid into your account? The money for those in the UK is paid on a 6 months interval basis. So PTDF does not pay us on a monthly basis. So, but what they do is the money you are supposed to be paid per month is calculated for a 6 months period and then paid into your account. Essentially, you get paid twice in a year. And if you by any means happen to be paid 3 times in a year, then you just know that the third payment is the first batch of your payment for the following year. Right, so sometimes PTDF can be that efficient where they pay maybe in February, pay some other amount, the second batch for the year around June, and then by like December of the year or November, they pay the first leg for the following year. However, the money is not going to be coming on a monthly basis. It comes in that kind of bulk payment. It now depends on how do you manage the money. If you are in France, I understand that those who are in France, their payments is managed by Campus France, and Campus France then makes the choice of paying the money on a monthly basis. I can't say exactly what the figures are now, but if anybody requires that information, then I can ask a couple of friends who are studying in France and then maybe ask somebody who is studying in Germany or who studied in Germany the exact amounts that was paid to them for their studies. But the scholarship in Germany is usually managed by DAD. The scholarship in France is managed by Campus France. I don't know much about Malaysia. I really don't have any friend who is in Malaysia. However, I know that the university in Malaysia is more or less backed by their national oil company, which makes it, a point of attraction for most people. If you have joined us, please, you can just drop your questions in the comment section. If you don't have any question, just help me share the video so that other people who applied for the scholarship will be able to find the video. Then, when you eventually come abroad, this money that PTDF pays you is what you are going to use to pay for your house rent, pay your transportation back and forth from school, take care of yourself. And if you are bringing your family members, PTDF is paying just for you. PTDF is not paying for your family member. So they wouldn't say that because this person has got married, we're going to pay him £2,000. Why we pay the single ones 1,550? That's not done. The extra cost of bringing your family members is on you, and the extra cost of taking care of your family members in the country of your study is also on you. But for everything regarding your visa as a person, PTDF is going to take care of it. except for your local travel. So if you are doing your visa in Abuja and you live like in Abia State or you live in Adamawa State, the local travels between Adamawa to Abuja where your visa is going to be processed, PTDF, to the best of my knowledge, will not pay you any money to cover those local transportations. But your medicals for those coming to the UK, your tuberculosis test is going to be paid for by the PTDF. The visa application fee is going to be paid by the PTDF. Actually, there is like an agent that PTDF was using in my time that you just submit your documents to. When the processes are all done, the agent will contact you. In our time, it used to be on WhatsApp. They will contact you and request for some of the documents. You send it to them. They are the ones to apply for your visa and all of that. But if you intend to bring in your dependents to, say, the UK as a master's student, that window of bringing in dependents to the UK is closing this year. From January next year, you will not be able to bring your dependents on a student visa for a master's degree program. But if you are going for a PhD, if you are coming for a PhD, you'll still be able to bring your dependents. Now, for the sake of applying for your dependence visa, if you don't want to use that agency that PTDF uses for your own application, then what you need to do is to get your visa application number from the agent when your visa is done, because you will certainly need that visa application number when you apply for your dependence visa, because your dependence visa is going to be tied to your own visa, and if you don't have that visa application number, you will struggle. Of course, the agent is always going to be available to respond to your messages and send that visa application number to you when you need it. But if you can get it as early as possible, please try and collect it. I had to send a message to request for my own. I think though that there is a letter that comes after your visa has been approved that contains that visa application number. But again, I think that email goes to the agent, because the agent uses his or her own website to apply for your visa, which means that all correspondence between all direct correspondence between the home office and you is through all correspondence between the home office and you is through that agent. For some reason, that is what PTDF prefers, and I think for a good reason, so that people don't make mistakes in their visa applications and get rejections unnecessarily. Right. I don't know if I've missed any other thing. If you have additional questions about cost of living in the UK or cost of living in France, I think you can just go to our YouTube channel and have a look at some of the videos I posted there. But generally, where you stay in the UK determines how much money you spend on rent. You can get rents from like £250 in a shared bedroom apartment, in a shared flat, like for a room in a shared flat. You can also get somewhere around £400. You can get anything within, the range is wide, and it depends on how much, where you stay, and the nature of the building. How new is the building? What's the energy rating of the building? What's like the location and the nature of the building, basically. Then, for those who are always tempted to go to big cities, like you want to be in London, you want to be in Paris, you want to be in this place or the other place, my advice is generally that you consider how much, try to find out the cost of living around your school, and then weigh it against how much PTDF pays you. Then, in addition to that, consider the career opportunities for the course you are going to study in the city you are going to. Right? I personally am in Aberdeen, and one of the reasons I am in Aberdeen is because my course is in oil and gas, is within the oil and gas scope, and Aberdeen is called the oil and gas capital of Europe, not just by mouth, but in reality, that is what the city is. You have almost all the oil and gas, a bigger percentage of the oil and gas operations in the UK happen in Scotland, and most of those companies have their base in Aberdeen. And when you talk about oil and gas events in Europe, generally, it has to come to Aberdeen. Just yesterday, they concluded the offshore Europe event, where I think they had up to like 400 or eight, between 4 to 800 companies from across the world coming down there to display their technologies, to show what they are doing and engage with people, make presentations and all of that and all of that. This is not once. I remember last year I was in one other event in this same Aberdeen, and there were people all the way from France, from Petrobras, that came to from Brazil, Petrobras, that came all the way from Brazil to attend these events. Yesterday I met a lady who came all the way from Newfoundland in Canada to attend the offshore Europe event. And these kind of events are very nice opportunities to actually meet with companies, interact with companies. The point of what I'm saying is know the city you are going to, know the career opportunities in that city you are going to ahead of time, know the nature of events that happen in that city ahead of time, and that way you'll be able to make a perfect choice of both your course, your city, and then against the amount of money you have and the opportunities you have. If I were in London, for instance, most of these oil and gas events, I most likely will not be able to attend them. And even if I'm able to attend them, it's going to come at a cost. But I am in Aberdeen, and all it takes, in fact, the offshore Europe event does not, it really costs nothing to attend. Registration was free. Transportation to the event was arranged from the different corners of the city. If you are going from the city center to the event location, there were buses that were operating, all paid for by the organizing by the organization. Yours is show the badge that you're registered for the event, enter the bus, and move ahead. The point why I'm making this point and emphasizing on it is, if you are studying aeronautical engineering, maybe Aberdeen will not be the place for you. There might be another city in the UK or in the country you are going to that is specialized in that area, and that should affect the choice of university you are going to. As for tuition, considering the amount of tuition that is paid, or comparing the tuition paid between, by one school against the other, is really not a necessary thing to do now, because PTDF will pay so long as it's a partner university, regardless of the cost of studying in the school, regardless of the cost of tuition. PTDF is definitely going to pay. You don't even know when that payment is made. Is all within the PTDF's responsibility. So if this video has been useful to you, please subscribe if you are seeing it on YouTube, and then follow if you are seeing it on Facebook. And as much as you have any questions, please go ahead, drop them in the comment section, and I will be able to answer them. I will answer them as much as they are questions within my abilities. Apologies to all the global audience. I had to take out time to address this particular scholarship because, again, PTDF is the scholarship that is funding my own studies, and there are lots of people who talk to me directly about it. Later this night, we are, depending on when you watch this video, I'm talking about September 9th, 2023. Later this night, I will be coming live to discuss something about Finland. You remember I mentioned Finland in in that video about countries where tuition fee is relatively low and affordable. Applications for admissions have now opened in Finland, and there are a couple of scholarship opportunities here and there for those who intend to go to Finland. I am going to be discussing that later this evening. You can turn on the notification button. You can choose to, just by any means, but don't miss that conversation. It's going to be beneficial to you. For those who have not won scholarships, Finland is a very good destination to go to. Affordable. Lithuania, very affordable. Austria, very affordable. Norway, relatively affordable. There are all these countries that are relatively affordable. We will be discussing from time to time. Today in the night is going to be Finland. I hope you'll be there, and I look forward to seeing you. Now, questions. If you have got any questions regarding what we've discussed today, go ahead, drop them in the comment section. I'll wait for a couple of minutes. If I don't see any questions, then I will assume that all I have said were very clear, and I will peacefully log out. Looking forward to your questions. questions in the comment section. Let me see. Someone says, good morning. Good morning to you. Wally, thank you for joining. Good morning from here. Okay, so Walid is asking which countries are eligible. Unfortunately, or fortunately for Nigerians and unfortunately for all other followers, this particular scholarship is for Nigerians. Yeah, this is for Nigerians. And like I said, regardless of the fact that we come from diverse countries and this is a global community, I am taking out scholarship, PTDF scholarship to discuss because that is the scholarship that is funding my own studies. And because it's funding my studies and lots of people know that I am on this scholarship, I have lots of questions, different questions coming from different people about the scholarship. It was just best to address it at this point and through this medium. So, Chukwemeka Slim, good job. Keep it up. Thank you very much for joining. Beatrice is watching. Thank you for joining. I can't seem to see any questions, and I will be assuming that I have done justice to this conversation. Did I forget anything? Did I miss out on anything? I am not sure. And here we are. PTDF has done their parts. Now, congratulations to all the winners. For those of you coming to the UK, when you get to the UK, drop me a note. I will be very glad to catch up with you, especially if you're coming to Scotland and Aberdeen in particular. I might not be able to come to London all the time, but anywhere in Aberdeen, you can drop me a chat and we will catch up. My WhatsApp number is on the bios of this page. You can write me there if you wish to. You can also write through my inbox. Thank you very much. Have a nice day, and then catch up with you later in the night to discuss the scholarship opportunity that has just come up in Finland and the applications that are open in Finland now. Help me share this video anytime you see it. I'll be very grateful and very glad if you do that. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye, and congrats once again to the awardees. For those who did not win this year, like I mentioned earlier, just go to the profile of those who won from your states, look them up, study who they are, look at what they have that I didn't have. It will always give you an idea that will help improve your next application. And if you tried it this time, it didn't work, try it again next time. I did it 2 times before I got it. I read of somebody who tried Chevdin for I think got 3 rejections before she finally won it. It must not be this year. It can be next year. The point is, don't let the vision die. Don't let the vision die. In addition to the money PTDF will pay you, you'll be able to work 20 hours per week part-time in the UK. I don't know how many hours you can work in France and in Germany, but in the UK, you got like 20 hours that you can work to make some extra income. If you are lucky enough, you can get a job that will pay you really well within that 20 hours. And that's it from me for today. This is Academy of Scholarships and Transitions. We talk about scholarships here. And in addition to scholarships, we discuss life-changing principles that will move you from your comfort zone and accelerate your journey to progress in your career, in your business, and in your academics. In addition to that, we also discuss effective use of social media tools, building with connections that can transform your careers and help you get the things that you deserve to get. If any of those things are what you like, please just follow us. And if you know anyone, your son, your daughter, your uncle, your aunt, your nephew, your niece that needs any of those, tell that person to get in touch and follow this page or subscribe on YouTube, depending. Bye bye, and have a nice day. See you next time.